Hey, thank you for tuning in to Instrumental Intel. I am your host, music producer Chick with Beats, and I'm glad that you're here with me. Today's episode has music industry news, beats by me for your inspiration, and later I'll be joined by my special guest, Reggie Braxton. We're going to talk a little bit about unlocking musical possibilities through persistence and so much more. So I'm excited to be bringing this episode to you, and before I go ahead and drop that first beat, I gotta give a shout out to my home station, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and with that, let's go. I'm back with the Music Biz Brief. First up, global music revenues are projected to almost double, reaching $200 billion by 2035, according to Goldman Sachs' latest Music in the Air report. Growth slowed to 6.2% last year after a strong 2023, but analysts expect recovery with revenues up 7.7% in 2025. Streaming growth is leveling off in developed markets, but emerging regions are still a major opportunity, already accounting for 60% of new subscribers. The report also highlights live music's resilience, higher ticket prices, and new revenue streams like superfans and video content as key drivers for the future. It's also worth noting that Goldman Sachs predicts streaming price increases every 12 to 24 months. Next, Bandcamp has launched Bandcamp Clubs, a new subscription model that blends old-school record clubs with modern community spaces. Each club is led by a curator, like DJs, journalists, and collectors, who handpick a digital album each month for members to own permanently. Alongside the music, subscribers get interviews, updates, and access to live listening sessions where fans can connect and discuss the records. With genres ranging from heavy music to global dance sounds, Bandcamp Clubs put human curation and artist support at the center of music discovery. Also, Listening Party, the startup for hosting virtual album premieres, has relaunched its app with a major upgrade. Fans can now join the same event from different streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud. Previously limited to single-service parties, this update makes it easier for artists to bring their whole audience together for launches, back catalogs, celebrations, or special anniversaries. For more information and to request the quote, please make sure you check out their website. Next, vinyl, CDs, and cassettes remain exempt from new U.S. tariffs, but Bandcamp and Discogs warn artists to expect possible delays and mistakes as customs adjust to the rules. While informational media like music is protected, merch items such as shirts and tote bags are still subject to import taxes. Bandcamp advises artists selling internationally to update shipping costs and consider deliver duty paid options to avoid unexpected charges or refuse deliveries. Also, the European Commission has paused its investigation into Universal Music Group's $775 million acquisition of Downtown Music Holdings while it waits for requested information. The deal announced last December has raised concerns that Universal could reduce competition by gaining access to rival labels' data. The inquiry's original November deadline has already been extended, and a new timeline will be set once the review resumes. Industry groups and independent labels remain divided on the deal's potential impact. Next, Spotify says its ticketing partnerships have grown rapidly, now working with more than 35 providers worldwide. In the past year, 228,000 artists had shows listed on the platform, leading to 74,000 selling tickets through Spotify. The company is integrating events into artist pages, feeds, and recommendations with a focus on helping mid-tier and emerging artists fill venues. Spotify is sticking to primary ticketing partners, avoiding resale markets, and hints at expanding beyond concerts into comedy and live podcasts in the future. In other news, the Nordic collecting societies Coda, Tiesto, and Tono are shutting down their joint licensing venture Polaris Hub at the end of the year. Formed in 2019 to negotiate deals with platforms like Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok, the hub is being phased out as the CMOs say today's music market demands greater scale and international reach. Each society will now pursue licensing agreements independently, while assuring rights holders that royalty distributions will continue without disruption during the transition. Next, Warner Music Group is restructuring its UK operations to work more closely with its US labels. Atlantic and Warner Records UK leaders will now join their US counterparts' global leadership teams, aligning A&R and marketing to help artists scale internationally. Warner says the move is designed to give British acts more global reach, while also boosting US artists in the UK. This news follows the announcement that the Warner Music UK CEO Tony Harlow will step down in October. And finally, AI startup Anthropic has raised $13 billion in a new funding round, valuing the company at $183 billion, making it larger than Spotify and more than triple the valuation of Universal Music Group. Founded in 2021, the company says annualized revenue jumped from $1 billion to over $5 billion this year, with 300,000 business customers now on board. This influx comes despite the ongoing copyright lawsuits from music publishers and others. Perhaps it's to fund potential settlements, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Alright, that's it for the Music Biz Brief. I'm going to take a quick pause for the cause, and I'll be back with my special guest, Reggie Braxton, right after this. Keep it locked. Hey, I'm a chick with beats, multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit achickwithbeats.com for resources for artists and instrumentals in various genres available for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwithbeats.com. That's achickwitbeatz.com. Let's make something happen. Thank you so much for tuning in to Instrumental Intel. I am your host, music producer, Chick with Beats, and I'm excited to say that I have in the virtual building with me today, Reggie Braxton, who is a multi-hyphenate talent. And so, before I go ahead and before I say, go ahead and let the people know who you are, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I can see how busy that you've been, so I'm glad that you've come on the show to share. But if you could just kind of introduce yourself to the world, let them know who you are and how you got involved with music.
My name is Reggie Braxton, and I've been a lover of music all my life, and that's been a great journey. And you start off, I actually got kind of a late start. I didn't take music lessons as a child. I was a basketball player. And so when I got a chance was old enough to buy my own pianos when I actually got started. And so I like to practice. And so I like skill. So when I got my first apartment, the neighbors would be banging on. I was like crazy then. I let them know I didn't like that. But I would just love scales.
Yeah.
And so that led to me meeting people, a lot of seasoned musicians who was a blessing. These guys are really great musicians. It's ironic, some of the people that I had a chance to mentor me, people that studied with, I had to play with John Coltrane, this really crazy Aretha Franklin. There's people who are really giants in the community that some type of way I was able to connect with them. So kind of gave me a fast track on picking up the music, because I had some really giants in the music, just really genius type guys, and who encouraged me to continue this journey with the music. So a lot of late nights practicing until you're ready to go on stage, So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So You mentioned some of your mentors. What would you say would be maybe some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned when working with them?
Mhm. Well, it's always practice, It's always practice. It's always getting repetition, you know. Listen to the greats, and they're the great teachers because they've already done it.
Mm.
So if you listen and understand, if you're looking at, say for example, first person comes to mind is like Luther, for example.
Mm-hmm.
He was to me the ultimate singer, and so you listen to him a few thousand times, and you're doing your thing, and so I think you learn certain techniques, certain things that they're doing, that can help you be who you are,
Yeah.
And that's kind of basically whether it's piano, everything is practice. There really is no magic wand, anything. It's like you learn certain techniques or whatever, and then you practice, and you work on your sound. I remember when I first started recording myself, I hated to hear my voice.
Mm.
I said, man, people said, Reggie, you sound good. I said, I couldn't even listen to it, then I started to really like what I was hearing. After many years, I started to say, well, this sounds pretty good, something like that. And then be able to relax and being able to really relax and get into what you're doing and feel confident. And but that comes from practice, it's just no way around getting good at something that you put the work in and reps in. So anybody that knows me, I'm always saying, well, you got to put the work in. Mm-hmm. And I think that's that's the key. And then of course, God-given talents too, that helps too, but you don't acknowledge that yourself. You more, for me anyway, it's you just keep working at it until you get something that you like.
Okay. Well, I see that that's a recurring theme about practice. And how do I want to say this? I guess in the present era and age, we got a lot of people that kind of want to take the shortcuts. Especially now, you start seeing more and more people saying, well, no, now with AI, I can do this or that. Exactly. So I'm not knocking that. But I think what you're saying is just so important as far as, actually honing your craft instead of just trying to get the shortcut way.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it comes from the love. So the practice is, you down here doing my next thing I know, it's 3 a.m, and I may be working on the same thing over and over again, and come back the next day, feels a little better, and, but it's, I think it's the love, that you have for something that it actually allows you to pursue greatness, and, we've already had a lot of great work in the past, so you ain't got to really, you can go back as far as you want to go back with this thing. You're going to find some people long gone, but still, they have put that work in their craft, and you can learn a lot from them. And there's a lot of great young talent too, music thing is, I love jazz. I love some hip hop people, I love, so, in all the genres, there's somebody that I got in my playlist that I really like, so it just no boundaries. It's just you listen.
Yeah.
Hear it, you like, well, I like it. What I love about Shazam, I hear something, I Shazam. Hold on one second. Let me Shazam this. So my playlist, sometimes I'll be someplace and I'll put it on and somebody say, man, what do you know about that? I say, I just heard it. I don't even know the song. I heard a few bars, boom, I like that.
Yeah.
So that's the exciting thing about this week. Now I'm recording is that, man, I can do all of this stuff,
Yeah.
But it takes some. It's just I don't know. Just other than say it's a blessing because to be able to get in a space where you're able to record and do things and take it to the next level. So it's all about the people you're able to meet, and I think that comes from the pursuit. And when you're ready, say things seem to appear like that, you know.
Yeah. So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, you're all right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that listen to the show tend to be in the creative fields and whatnot. So, since you mentioned you're always practicing, staying on top of your game, and then to be ready when you meet people, what kind of advice do you have for any artists that might be kind of struggling with that aspect of it? So, like maybe, they've got all this stuff kind of tucked away to the side, but now it's time to actually get out there and connect with people. How have you handled that with your career, and what advice do you have for somebody that might be looking for something like that?
Well, I think, what do you say, Chick with Beats? Is that your name?
Yes.
Chick?
That's fine.
CWB. I think that in anything, you have to be able to step outside your comfort zone, and a lot of really the great artists, a lot of times, they may not be the most outward, sometimes the people who don't really have a lot of talent, they're the most boisterous, and all you gotta do is look at karaoke.
Oh.
And people just jump up, and I was like, man, I don't know how you could have enough nerve, and then the people who could really sing, those ones in the back, sometimes, they don't have a thing. So my thing is, you have to be courageous too, and make yourself do things. Go make yourself introduce yourself. Hey, this is what I'm doing. I'd like you to check what I'm doing out. And it's little things like that, and the spirit of music and having a good spirit, but also being able to understand the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my thing there, is to have confidence. And then, you have to be able to, I'll never forget, I was one of my first gigs, and it was a really elite jazz club, right? You had some of the top musicians. And so my friends who were, all these guys ended up being great musicians. And they had already been performing at a younger age. I got started late. And so I was singing it was called the Teddy Harris New Breed Bebop Society Band. Okay. Super musicians. And a lot of these guys are world class and doing great things now. They're playing with, some of the greats that we know today. And I remember going up, and I would be scared to death. And I want to be back in the with the musicians in the back. I said, "Rez, get up front, get up front." So I would just make myself do it. And so I would go up, and it was crazy. We was making $125 for the whole band at that time. That's crazy. And some weeks I would go up, and the owner, Richard, he would say, "Reg, we'll try it again next week." So just having the courage to go up and then go through it, the mistakes, or to get the comfort zone, or get comfortable with what you're doing. I think understanding that if you could, somebody could tell you that, hey, you're gonna have to go through that. I think that's helpful to know that nobody starts off great. You know what I'm saying? They have talent, but they still have to go through certain things. So I would say, be comfortable to go outside your comfort zone, introduce yourself to people, go where like-minded people where people are like you, and they're going to understand when you tell them something. They're going to understand exactly where you're at, and then they're going to encourage you. And that's kind of what I think would be a good thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect sense. It's great advice. Definitely a gem to kind of keep in mind. I've been producing for about 17 years now, I think it is. And if you would have told me that I'd be hosting a podcast and sometimes on camera and having to listen to my own voice back then, I definitely wouldn't have believed it, because I hated all that stuff. Actually, that's really my favorite thing about being a producer, is because I get to be in the background and I don't have to be in the front. So I feel like everything that you said, just kind of spoke to at least what's kind of helped me to get out of my shell a little bit. So I know that it'll help anybody who's listening right now that might be struggling with that too. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, connecting with like people, it's definitely helpful and really important to do. So I kind of want to backtrack a little bit. You had mentioned, listening to some of the greats, and you mentioned Luther. Who are some of your other early influences, that kind of shaped who you are now?
Well, my family, like my grandmother was a singer, so really we go all the way back. She had a little organ, and she'd do some gospel stuff she would sing. And then she was a blues singer, right? And she used to travel and stuff like that. She used to tell me those stories. I didn't know, but she would show me some pictures. She was beautiful pictures, and with the musicians in the back, and then her song I always remember. She used to sing "Since I Fell for You," and she was a big Billie Holiday fan, and so I was around listening to that as I can remember. Dinah Washington, Sarah Vaughan, all these old school that were great singers and stuff. When I get old enough to understand, I say, wow, Brooke Ben, these are just all really great singers. So my grandmother had a big influence, and then my cousin, who was a member of the Temptations, and so that was like huge at the time because they were big and they would come over. They had their little do-rags and everything. And then next thing you know, they would be on these shows, and man, I was just blown away. We had a chance to go and watch them. And it was just mine. I said, man, this is what I want to do. And so that really said, man, I really want to sing. And so I would always be trying to sing. I would sing these songs and things like that. And so, the groups, it was a lot of groups then, and so at the talent shows we would have, they would always have the guys with the tenors, the ladies would go nuts when they took them out. They'll say, man, that's not my voice. And so anyway, I remember my cousin, Melvin Franklin is his name. Okay. And he did a song called I'm sending you red roses and violets. Violets are blue. So it was a nice melodic baritone bass. He was really a bass, and so he kind of opened me up that no matter what your note is, if it's quality, it all works out. So that let me know. I said, okay, I just keep doing my thing, and I would always hear. I even heard this is crazy. Like, you like a black Frank Sinatra or something. I was like, I was offended, but come to find out, it was really a compliment in some of the things that they were saying, and I always had, no matter what I did, I had kind of a jazzy feel, even way back. But so that was my initial influences, some of the groups, Dramatics, and I really liked the romantic type songs, the Whispers, and then, but a lot of my favorites were female, I love Diana Ross, the old school, Sarah Vaughan. I just thought they had amazing, even if you go back and listen to them now, I mean, those voices were just like they were angels, and so that same thing all the way up. I had, this is kind of fast forward, but I went to see Chris Brown, right? And so he had Summer Walker.
Okay.
And so I thought about like Nancy Wilson. I thought like she's more of a stylist, right? And so you got all the big sound. She not screaming. She just stylist. And I said, that's kind of what Janae Aiko. You got Janae Aiko. You got Caesar. You got Summer Walker. You got some of these other chicks. I love them, and they not screaming, but
Yeah.
sweet, and they sing these melodies and they sing, and they got some little slick stuff happening. So I listen to a lot of that too, but it's still music. It's all relatable,
Yeah.
because, you had the Patti LaBelle's and the Aretha's, but you also had Nancy Wilson, you had
Yeah. Her
just
voice is like velvet.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Dionne Warwick. Dionne Warwick, I love Dionne Warwick, and then I heard Luther say, hey, she was the one that I would listen to, and I understood
Mm.
what he was saying, even from a male perspective. Some of her nuances and some of the things that she was doing vocally, you can apply that in your own register, So
Mm.
I understood what he was saying. So anyway, I go, it just connections and take me. I'll be way over here. How did I get over
Right.
here? Yeah,
Yes, you named
yeah,
some incredible talents. So I mean,
yeah,
yeah, their
incredible.
voices. Yeah.
And it just doesn't end, and it's hard to, I don't want to be put in a box because my musical experience, and even with the stuff that I'm doing, if you listen to my whole album, we did a Drake tune. I did an Anthony Hamilton. I did a Frank Sinatra. I did my own stuff. So it kind of represents. You only get put so much on one project. So, but my thing goes. It's like I got so much music inside me,
Mm.
and now uh, I had wrote to some tracks, but I'm just penned a song that I'm playing. I wrote it totally with just
Okay.
piano, and I think it's gonna be a good tune. I'm about ready to put that down. So it's just I tell you, it's just amazing to know that now I'm able to put stuff out that the world. And that was my whole dream, that I want to be able to have music that people can enjoy, like like I did. I can remember
Yeah.
situations, being a young man and coming up, and music. Sometimes I feel like he was saving my life,
Mm.
in terms of it's crazy, but music has always been a super influence for me,
Yeah.
some type of way. And I would tell any woman, or even my wife, I say, hey, no, this is not a hobby. Because I got to, how they say, get the bag. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Yeah.
but don't get it twisted. This what you see here. This is what I do for real. So and a lot of time, and I'm kind of digressing, but it's as a musician, and you trying to learn them notes like you got. It's a lot of work in it, and it's lonely in terms of you got to be by yourself when you're working on your game.
Yeah.
And so it's a blessing to have someone that understands and let you do what you need to do. And so you understand that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My husband has been very understanding and supportive. But yeah, you definitely need your partner to kind of be on board with it because it does take a lot
A lot of
out of you. And so, speaking of kind of getting into music, you're about ready to lay down the new track that you're ready to share with the world. What do you typically do to kind of get to the point to where, like, okay, I composed this
mhm.
music, now I've written this song. Like, do you have like a ritual to kind of get into the creative space, or is it just part of the process?
It's I can't even I think about that, but it's different all the time.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm moody, so it's a mood thing. I can sit down here and I can hear something, and it's there. Sometimes you can't force it. It's just sometimes it just be a day that, man, this is it. And sometimes you sit down and uh, creativity, something really special. Something hits you like, oh man, this is my jam. This is a jam. It's gonna be a jam here. You know what I'm saying? So it just changes all the time. What inspires me. I'll hear a song and that I like a lot, and that make me go and I like these African beats, like
Oh yeah.
like 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 uh, uh, what's this guy Essence? They did that Wiz Kid and that man. I
Yeah.
heard that tone. I said, man, geeks me when I heard that. I went instantly, like I just like that groove, and then you get inspired by hearing certain things, because
Yeah.
certain things that you hear, then you because nothing is new, because you
Right.
only get and this keep you only get here.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. And then you can find your own creativity within that.
Yeah.
And so what I do is now you have to have a good producer. You know what I'm saying? To really bring a song to life. You can I can play these chords and do my thing, but then when you get a producer, they gonna add the strings or make that beat down. You can have an idea. So that producer is very, very important to get you to a level. Whereas, it's a lot of competition. So you got to have
Yeah.
top-notch people, and it's a blessing to get to a point where people want to work with you.
Mm.
So it's exciting.
Yeah. It's okay. As far as working with people, how do you kind of figure out who to collaborate with?
Well, right now, this is like my first project in terms of on this level, right? And so I think things is, I don't know, and music is spiritual too. I think that you put stuff out there and you draw things to you. And so this is like, I have some great things that are happening now. I had did a remake of Next Lifetime by Erykah Badu,
Yes.
and I did it from a male perspective. And so, it did well. It was like the #1 most requested over in the UK, and things like that. And so I wanted it to be on my album, but they wouldn't let me put it on my album. I had Georgie Porgy. So them two, everybody else, no problem. But then I said, let's go back again. People, my connection, let's ask them again, hey, I really want to try to do. Say, okay, let us look at what you're doing. So we want to make sure this is on a quality project. So we sent them everything. They asked us to send my whole album to them. They said, okay, we're going to let you do it, but we want to remix this tune. We're going to re-engineer this tune. The guy's name is Norman, Mr. Keys Hurt. So of course I Googled, this guy's a Grammy award winning guy, engineer, music director for Erykah Badu. I said, now, okay, this is saying something.
Yeah.
So when you say, well, so that just kind of organically happened, which I think is a big thing that this guy,
Absolutely.
Then when I heard it back, even though I thought the mix was fine, it took it to another level. And we send the stuff out to some panels and things like that. And then, they just organically, a few stations started, so they want to start playing it. So to get back to what you're saying, you just keep working at it. And then if it's good enough and you put it in front of enough people, then, I think it attracts. That's something I can say. I don't have a whole lot of experience at this point. I mean, obviously, when these great things continue to happen, some of these people I would love to do things with, because I noticed once you get a hit, the how can I say it, the proverbial, the elusive hit. You get that hit. And, these guys from the 90s and whatever, they get that one, they may be living off of 1 or 2 hits. They still gigging all over the world for that one hit.
Yep.
Right. So I said, well, hopefully, I'm in pursuit of getting that one hit that's played on all the radio stations. Everywhere you go, you hear Reggie Braxton doing this Brax-Tone thing,
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if that makes sense with that.
No, absolutely it does. You've shared so much information and wisdom that I think is helpful to anybody making their way in the creative path.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the time and man, it went by so quickly. I want to make sure that everybody knows what you've got coming up in the pipeline and also where they can find you, follow
Okay.
you, stream you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. So what's happening now is we're re-releasing the Brax-Tone Experience. And so I did add, and you're the first person to know that nobody else knows this, I added a song by John Legend.
Ooh.
And it's called Take Me Away. So this song here, I always end up, even always, sometime it's a song that wasn't the most popular, but it was a song that I really liked a lot. So, and I like a story. And so, are you familiar with Take Me Away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. And so I just finished that. And any song that you hear that I do, people listen all the way through, I done did something to it. You know, whether it's the ending, like for example, Best of Me. I took that bridge and I added lyrics to it. But anyway, the Brax-Tone Experience, I'm re-releasing that, and it's going to be on all digital platforms. It's going to be 16 songs.
Ooh.
I wrote some of the songs. I wrote about I don't know, 3 or 4 of the songs, and then with my partner, we wrote a few songs together as well. Jay Powell, he wrote the Something's Going On.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's been really helpful in terms of, I've known him a long time, but exposing me to getting my thing off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's the Brax-Tone Experience. I have several videos. You can go to YouTube. I would say please go in and check my videos out. And on YouTube, please subscribe, leave some comments, and tell other people about it. We really, really appreciate you going and even buying the download the music. You know, I spent a lot of money on spend $15 for something I like. It's just nothing. But that's how I feel about music. So I would ask and hope that people at least check it out and see what I'm doing.
All right. Socials? Are you
Yeah.
active on social media?
Yes, it's Reggie Braxton 007 on Instagram. And then on Facebook I have 2. One is Reggie Braxton Music, and then just Reggie Braxton. You know, it's a few Reggie Braxton, so they have to look like me. I'm like the coolest guy on there. Coolest Reggie Braxton. So anyway, man, you're easy to talk to. So this is really, really good. I appreciate a blessing of getting a chance to talk with you. You made me relax. Talking to each other.
So glad to hear it. Well, since it went by so quickly, hopefully this would be part 1 of many more to come, and you can come back again.
I'd love to.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And that's a wrap for this episode of Instrumental Intel. I've been your host, music producer Chick with Beats. And once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank my special guest, Reggie Braxton, for coming through and sharing his story, wisdom, and knowledge. And I'd also like to thank my home station, Grander Radio, out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Make sure you come back next week. I got more goodness lined up for you. So, till next time, you know where to find me. Tune in, tell a friend, and I'll see you then. Peace.